off a loss, T1 against, well, Liv Sandbox, who actually managed to play quite well against Genji just prior to this series. So both teams here are looking to move up in the standings. I mean, NS, I think they're second at the moment with a 3-1 score, looking good. But yeah, they want to solidify their position in the top standings, and T1, well, tied with 2-2. They really need to get going. They actually have quite a good schedule, like easy opponents in the next, I think, 3 series against them. So they're really, yeah, looking to get a win streak going on here. Getting into the bans though, we see Akali and Renekton being banned here on the blue side. T1 choose blue side in the selection here of sides. Still banning Renekton on the blue side, like they're doing in every series so far, or in every draft. The Akali, obviously a very strong champion in general, and is also not being touched in 11.13 if I remember correctly. Of course, we're still at 11.12 here, so all the changes to movement speed and mobility are not in there. I have no idea what this is. Maybe they got a penalty ban because they arrived late at the studio. I have no information regarding that. But anyway, looking at the other side here, Azri, Lee Sin, and Kalista. So obviously 2 bans against the general in the bot lane against Teddy, and the Lee Sin against, well, all of T1, because yeah, nowadays everyone in T1 can play Lee Sin, and I'm talking everyone besides Teddy maybe, but even he has shown in solo queue that he can play the champion. But of course, like Kana to Faker to Carrier, even everyone can play the champion to a great degree. So it's, yeah, he's still very strong. The nerfs come in at the next patch. So yeah, that's still no issue. Picking here the Lucian as a first pick, it's a bit strange. Obviously Lucian can go in 3 lanes if you want to, but more so only in top and the mid lane. And well, it is a very strong laning champion. Picking it blind first here, B1, can be countered here by NS. They already go for options that are really good into him. The Varus and the Rumble, of course, as long range champions, and also very strong in the mid game. Look to make use of their range advantage here. Also high damage profile, so NS really grabbing here some very powerful champions in the current meta, one of the best junglers and one of the best AD carries. T1 here self counter picking themselves with the Senna into the Varus matchup. It's not a great matchup, but the T1 bot lane has shown so often in the past that matchups don't really matter for them. They're going to win every matchup and every bot lane they face off. The only time where they really got in trouble in the bot lane, I think that was way back in spring against Genji with Ruler and Life there. But after that, yeah, Teddy and Carrier have been dominating quite comfortably. And yeah, here again the set being picked for Carrier. So with the Tahm Kench changes, maybe there's an issue here with Tahm Kench not being picked because they don't want to play the champion before the rework. Or maybe it's just a stylistic choice. Set is the next support in line for Carrier if he's being paired up with the Senna. And then lastly here for NS we see the Nocturne. So T1 already very high AD profile here in the support, AD and probably mid lane position. So the Nocturne really already has kind of a field day, not because of the AD but because of the squishy targets that really lack defensive abilities, right? A set support is not a support that offers shields and heals like a Lulu or Karma would. The Karma here also being banned by T1, which is a bit strange because Karma is usually a pick we see coming into the Rumble, as her mantra E obviously denies large variance of his ultimate damage. Diana and the Volibear are being banned here from NS. So looking at Kasa's recent champions, these obviously rise in priority here in the ban list. And also the RP Volibear, or like the Zonia's, the Golden Bear build, packing a bit of AP here that T1 really needs with their physical damage champions here already, as I mentioned. And the Diana obviously very strong at the moment, and Kaz one of the earlier players to pilot that in the LCK. So, and as you're picking the Tahm Kench most likely for themselves, obviously Senna and Varus really work well with the Tahm Kench, more so than the Thresh, which is better for other standard hyper carries. Varus, you could obviously debate his status as a hyper carry or carry in the later stages, as he's not a true hyper carry that we know of from the past years. Just his range and high damage profile is of course very oppressive, even though he does not really come with the DPS to match that. And yeah, we have to look at the next patches because yeah, some of his items are also getting hit. In general, ADCs will have a bit of a harder time with less movement speed abilities and yeah, some hits to their items. Faker here locking in his trademark Azir, of course, having a very high win rate, I think about 75%. Recently lost a game though against Live Sandbox. I think yeah, game 2 he elected Azir and that was a loss, so yeah, he might want to get his win rate up with the champion again. Obviously high DPS AP champion, next to it the Gragas, probably for Kaz, unless we see some crazy swaps. So T1 getting in the AP and some engage that they actually needed for their comp here. Let's pause before the swap. And yeah, Lucian is now confirmed in the top lane as well. So yeah, that was not a huge surprise, right? Either mid or top for the Lucian. And yeah, the Gragas Lucian top lane combination, as T1 is not really playing around mid lane all too much at the moment. The AP AD combination top, with Gragas bringing in also the CC for the ganks against whoever from NS will end up in the top lane. So we have past 20 seconds, so we can see here the Sylas, which is the last pick here coming in for NS, is actually going into the mid lane facing the Azir. It's not a great matchup for him. Sylas though, the champion with the highest magic resistance in the game, or at least in base stats, and coming in from level 1, so he won't get poked that hard in comparison to other champions. Still not the greatest matchup with the melee versus range advantage Azir has, and also the control over the wave, making it so that Sylas' roam abilities are either heavily punished by plays and CS gaps, or he won't get to roam at all. Obviously the rumble in the jungle, higher priority in terms of pressure that he exuded than the Gragas, so maybe the double AP mid-jungle duo here from NS can target Azir and then free up Sylas for more roams. In the bot lane, I think I don't have to talk too much about this. This is a standard matchup that we've seen quite a lot of times in the past, and especially in the LCK. Varus and Kench, a very strong and lane dominant duo. Senna set more safer, but they have some explosiveness to them, with obviously the high damage that this set brings to the bot lane. Normally I would give the edge here to the Varus Kench, but from the experience and yeah, from the experience we saw in the past, Teddy and Carrier obviously going to dominate that matchup. At least that's my expectation. Deokdam and Callum have been performing very well, but we have to see them being tested against Teddy and Carrier. In the top lane, Kana versus Rich. This is something where without great interference from Peanut or from Callum, I don't know who else from earnings wants to go top, Kana will dominate the Nocturne. It's not a great matchup for him. Of course, there is like shenanigans with level 6, but till the Nocturne gets there, the Lucian should have a large enough lead to just win the 1v1, even with the maybe better ult that the Nocturne has. And as I mentioned, for the T1 side, the AP AD duo they have here and damage share. NS has the same here with the Nocturne and the Rumble, high AP, high AD damage. So they certainly can also blow up the Lucian quite easily. So which team has the better comp? I think the NS comp, they have some good pieces here, very powerful picks, especially in the mid game for skirmishes. In the later stages, it's getting a bit more difficult to get reliable use out of some of their champions, concerning like Senna healing against poke and some mobility that T1 has. And also with NS having, yeah, what is their engage? What is their front line? Their engage into T1 is actually very bad, concerning that T1 has very great disengage tools and defensive tools for team fights, right? Gragas, Azir, and Zed. Even Lucian's ultimate at some points can be a good deterrence to engage, especially from squishier members that are on NS team. Yes, the Nocturne ultimate into an equalizer is certainly a decent tool, but it's not a reliable way to get rid of Azri, Lucian and the Senna, as T1 is running a triple threat comp. And yeah, even the Gragas, who's going to go a bit more AP, I feel like, and the Zed, obviously, who's being fasted by the Senna, will also be very powerful. So T1 is not a comp that can be dealt with just one-shotting one target. So NS in the later stages has a bit more of a problem, but in the skirmishes from early to mid, I feel like they have a good way to deal with that. The issue there is, can they even be in a position of power? I mentioned the Lucian versus Nocturne, Azri versus Silas, and it probably lead Teddy and Carrier will also have in the bot lane. So with potentially 3 winning lanes for T1, even if NS has the greater early and mid game in terms of skirmishing powers, if they are behind in gold by a substantial amount, they can't really capitalize on that to a great degree. So overall, I would give the draft edge to T1. They certainly all have nice things here going for them. They have a front line. They've engaged, even though it's not the best tools, they at least have some, which is better than none, right? They have consistent DPS from AD and AP. They have great scaling, and they are wave clear. Also, I think their lanes are at least fine, and if played correctly or without jungle interference, good. So yeah, T1 going away here with the dub in the first game, or at least in the first draft. The game, I have to watch that now, and then I let you know in the draft review of the second game here. Till then, I wish you all a great time with the game. Hopefully you're also managing to watch it, or at least see some highlights. We see each other then.